Hello, and welcome back once again to another episode of Nothing Like a Good Book. Nothing like a good book, cozy up in the corner, in the author's corner there, or on a couch, or wherever, on a boat, just lay back with a good book. The whole thing is dedicated to authors. You may know an author. It's dedicated, if you are an author, talk about, promoting your book. You've got to be seen and heard. Promote your book, sell your book, and we discover your book. That's what we're all about. And if you want to know a little bit more, so you know we're not a scam, not a scam, just go to nothinglikeagoodbook.com. All right? Nothinglikeagoodbook.com. And you'll see for yourself. And we have all sorts of wonderful people on the show. And that includes this particular lady coming up. And her name is Nancy Sims. How are you, my dear, anyway?
I am great, and it's so good to see you.
The author of Verbal Snacks and Verbal Snacks 2. And a collaborative novel titled Detours.
Correct.
Okay, she's the special guest of this episode of Nothing Like a Good Book. She's a strong advocate for the literary arts and has served on several Palm Beach County Cultural Arts Advisory Councils. That's a mouthful. Her work has been showcased at the Kravis Center, is that right? Kravis Center for the Performing Arts and on NPR as well. There she is, Nancy Sims, author of 1 and 2 Verbal Snacks. So she's also known for conducting engaging and thought-provoking writing workshops. Are you good at that, Nancy?
I love it because I hear other people's stories. And so it sparks my imagination, and I love hearing other people's tales and reading.
Good. That's good. You were raised in Pittsburgh, right? Pennsylvania?
Yes, Steeltown.
Yes, Steeltown. I like the colours of the footy, yellow and black, because it's the same as my Tigers in Australia. But we're on the bottom of the ladder at the moment, though. She attended Chatham University, correct? And also, whereabouts in Eastern Virginia?
In Norfolk, Virginia, Eastern Virginia Medical School, I did a graduate program in psychiatric art therapy. So I worked.
Wonderful. So maybe you'll write about that one day.
It creeps in, but I'm very sensitive to people's stories. So
there you go. So that's good to hear too. So Verbal Snacks 2, this is the second installment. Look, that's the front of the book, ladies and gentlemen, Verbal Snacks. Verbalsnacks.com is the website where you can actually buy this. It's the second installment in a series of short story collections, right? And this edition focuses on the creative use of the alphabet A to Z, with each story built around playful word usage and language expression. Elaborate a little bit for us on that.
Okay, thank you. So I love wordplay. And I was also thinking about references of what I might say, you're a good egg. People who are younger might look at me like from a foreign country. So I dealt with wordplay, and I dealt with intergenerational phrases to kind of compose these stories. People just don't have time, Mark. They have a very short attention span. So I thought with this book, you were able to sit, read a couple short stories, and sort of think about, for example, eggs. Hose and Zip are my favorite stories, I think. Right. But I did them from A to Z, trying to compose what kinds of words would speak to people and jog their memories, resonate with them.
Okay, so these intergenerational stories highlight how we all engage in wordplay in everyday life, in other words.
Correct.
So each morsel may trigger personal memories or reflect experiences that shape our journeys. Now, you've given 1 or 2 examples. Give us another example of read one from the book if you like, or you've got memory. Give us another couple of examples.
Okay, so in other words, with egg, I dealt with egging somebody on, or the phrase. Nowadays, there are recipe developers. So there's a story about a woman who is a recipe developer using, when eggs got so expensive, she had to think of alternatives. And so she came up with recipes with alternative food items. And Egg of Woulda, Shoulda, Coulda is a story about good eggs or bad eggs, and parents wanting their children to be around good eggs instead of bad eggs, who might be a bad influence or good influence upon them.
Interesting. So the collection explores themes, really, different themes from all stages of life, even childhood memories.
Yes, there are childhood memories. There are people going, like address, or going in what people don't use an address book anymore, finding in one in an attic, a dress like you would wear, like I'm wearing now, or address an audience. So that's how I incorporated the ideas for the stories.
Okay. Evoking reflection, nostalgia, and connection with the reader's own life experiences. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is, for example, if you are of this generation, younger generation, the last story is about a zip line where a family goes to a place where they can all zip on a zip line,
Right.
and or zip code is another story where, and so that you can kind of think about different aspects and different generational stories, a change of address or a zipper. So zip it up. So even with that, people say used to say zip it up, which meant your mouth, or a zip on a article of clothing.
Zip it. Yeah, I get you. Now, this book is on Amazon, right? And Books A Million. That's correct? Books A Million?
Yes, you can order it from Books A Million.
As well. Okay. Now, I'm just trying to wonder what does it go under? Which, where would it go on Amazon?
Well, if you go on Amazon and you type books, Nancy Sims, not with the S, because there's another, and you will find the purple, which is I had a blue. My first book was a blue cover, and I wanted to kind of change it up, and so we went with purple this time.
Okay.
So
nice healing color anyway. But under what genre is it, do you think? Well, it's not romance, right?
No, it's short stories. You just put on Amazon, you just do books, Nancy Sims, and look for verbal snacks too.
That's it, short stories, right?
Yeah.
In that category, short stories. All right. So what actually inspired you to write the thing in the first place, Verbal Snack series?
Because people don't have as long an attention span as they used to. And I was thinking about, laying it, kind of catching it. Either you're at an office and you're looking at it, or my previous collaborative novel, Detours, which was a fascinating experience with 4 other women, is a magical realism book. But this one is really kind of, you get in and out, and you kind of, it hopefully sparks your memories or causes you a good laugh.
Well, in its own way, it's a prompter, right? You got 5 minutes over lunch, right? You get a half an hour for lunch or an hour. Sit down with your Sammy, and you could grab the book, pick a couple of pages. Oh, there's one, and you read that, and all of a sudden, it brings back memories.
Correct.
Interesting. How did your background in art and therapy influence your storytelling style, do you think?
I think because I'm a more visual person, number one. Number two, I had to listen to a lot of people's stories and their backgrounds. And so I was able to incorporate some of their stories in a very fictional way into this book. And I was able, I like color, as you can see. I live with color and I love color. So anyhow, that's why I kind of wanted to have colorful characters as well.
Why did you choose wordplay and the alphabet as the foundation for the book?
I would love to tell you, I don't know. It just sort of popped into my head. I think because I will be speaking to somebody, and I think it came up. We were talking about, for example, someone has a yellow streak, and it turns out that that's a World War I phrase. And I researched it, and I said, well, what other phrases come from different generations that we use or don't use? So and I have to now nowadays go on to some of the websites and type in, we abbreviate or whatever on the phone. And I just kind of, there's generational word plays like dish. Used to say in the 40s, she's a dish. What a dish.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
What a dish. Well, but a dish, if you talk to a kid now, a dish is something that you serve food on. So that's
or it's on the roof, satellite dish.
A satellite dish, good one. See, you've already caught up.
There you go. But you're doing it the hard way. You could easily just go onto your AI on, Gemini or Chat GPT or something and just talk to it and let it go and do the work for you.
No,
Saves you time.
I don't believe in AI. That's not creative enough for me. So.
All right. Now I understand. Some people do think that way, but it really helps. It can be a great assistant used correctly.
Well, if I want to ask, for example, when was a yellow streak? When was that? A lot of times I'll Google a phrase and I don't know exactly when it started to be used. Then I get an idea.
Okay.
So I love to research.
That's the secret, isn't it? Researching. Yeah. Takes time. Verbal Snacks 1 and 2, you must have a personal favorite in there. And if you do, why?
I think some of them are my favorites for revisiting my childhood. I was fortunate enough to have a very lovely childhood, although it was sort of complex in many ways. And so hose, for example, I remember the garden hose where we just used to have a little pool in the background and you have friends over and use the hose, and it was delightful. So,
did you have one of those sliding things?
Oh, no.
They didn't have those out then, I don't think.
No, A, they didn't have it out, and B, my mother would have been concerned it was too dangerous.
Yeah, well, the other thing is the water. How much water are you using? But it depends where you live, I guess. I was brought up very conscious of water, Turn the taps off. I'm surprised how many people just let things leak, don't turn taps off, doesn't matter. So that was interesting that that was your actual favorite. But, everybody's different, right? So what are you hoping for the readers to get out of this in reference to them? What do you want them to really enjoy out of this book?
So I want to have them have a perspective of different generations. For example, hose. Women used to wear pantyhose. They don't wear them anymore. So you have to go in the recesses of a department store to potentially find them. But I want people to kind of get a sense of where things were and where they are now and where we're going. So, I didn't, for example, there used to be an old gold medal baking flour can do a jingle that was from 1967. And I grew up in the age when women were just on the cusp of coming into their own. You could finally get a credit card. You could finally get a mortgage in your own name. And it's just inconceivable to me that those things were not within the realm of women.
That was the day when men were men and women loved them for it. You know what I mean? How do you hope that readers connect emotionally with, well, you've touched on it, haven't you, really? Talking about memories more than anything.
Memories and kind of being respectful of different viewpoints and different experiences.
Well, let's talk about that for a second then. Respectful of different viewpoints. Now, give us an example of that in verbal snacks.
So, for example, Jack's. J for Jack. There was a Jack of all trades.
Yeah, and master of none.
Plain Jacks, which I adored doing, and a Jack for a tire jack, fixing it yourself. Which you can't now. You go on your phone and call the dealer, and they send somebody. You wouldn't, but I had to learn how to jack up a tire and change a tire. So I think that it's
that's not easy. It's been hard for a lot of women and guys too, I'll tell you right now.
So just having a sense of where we are in life, and is it better, worse? I don't know. I just know that it's different.
What do role memories and personal experiences do you think play in your writing?
I'm sorry, what was war? Or
I'm asking you, what role do you think these memories and personal experiences do for people? Why even bother to do that? Put the phone down and take the book.
I think it's an opportunity for people to not only think about their past lives and be respectful of those people who had different experiences. For example, a dish. There's a story in there about a heirloom dish, and someone who was saved from the Holocaust and brought a dish with them. And frankly, I have dishes, and the piano that was brought over in 1939 on my former mother. She passed away. My mother-in-law is sitting in my living room, and every time I pass it, I, kind of think about what they went through. So I think it's a learning as well.
If I was to ask you, who would you be targeting this book at? What age group do you think?
Well, I dedicated it, frankly, to my granddaughters, but I think that I think that all ages, just because you can get a perspective of what life was like and what life is like now. So
yesteryear and today.
Yeah, book clubs. There's a lot of meat in it for book clubs to discuss, to generate their own memories
and that's what encourages at book clubs, right? That's what goes on. People share their books and they talk about them and this and that. You get feedback as well.
Yeah, and I'm happy to Zoom with any book clubs. I've done that in the past, so I'm happy to do that. Has your work with the cultural arts, and advisory councils, do you think it's, it would have shaped your creative journey, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Because not only was I able to become friends with people I may not have met in my neighborhood or my life, they have shared experiences that I maybe had not encountered or hadn't thought of. So, and it's interesting to kind of see where things are moving along and look at that play, about Mary Lincoln's wife. It's just
Right.
things go in different directions. I love the creative process.
Well, speaking of that, of the creative process, what's the most challenging part, do you think, of writing book number 2?
Marketing.
Sorry, say again?
Marketing. I can just retreat. The only thing about writing is I'm a very people oriented person.
Mhm.
And really, writing is a very solitary act. And so, in that way, I had to adjust as well. I love it now, but, and it was okay during COVID because you couldn't leave the house. But
Right.
uh, I'm very involved with bringing authors in and everybody sharing their stories.
That's very good because that gives them confidence. There are so many people that would love to write. So your message mainly to listeners, right, doing this interview with me would be what? What do you really want to get across?
I think that I want to get across them thinking about their past. I think respecting their past and looking towards the future and what kind of appreciating the creative arts and what they could do for you.
All right, that's really nice. That's good. And it's on Amazon. And what was the other one I mentioned before? Where?
Books A Million. I don't know where. Those
Okay.
are more out west.
But the easiest thing is the link at the bottom that you can see, folks, there. That's purchase at that particular address, right? https://verbalsnacks.com. That's her website. Okay. And if you click on the link, it'll take you straight through from her website, straight through to Amazon. That's
Correct.
how it works these days.
On my website, there are other little vignettes, other stories from different thoughts I've had, different,
Right.
completely that are not in the books.
So very good for other writers to sit there with a nice cup of joe in their podgies, pajamas, whatever, and tune in and have a bit of a read and look around. Yeah, excellent, excellent. I mean, your work is deeply rooted in creativity. There's no doubt about it. Language exploration. Did you ever come across any Australian sayings?
I was in Australia twice.
Really?
Twice. Once to visit our daughter, who was did 6 months at uni in Sydney, and I went with a friend, and we explored Sydney and Melbourne.
Yay! At least you got to see that. Most Americans I speak to flew into Sydney and flew out again. It's good bigger than that.
And my husband and I went 6 years ago. We went to Sydney and Melbourne, and then we went to New Zealand, which we loved. New Zealand.
Across the pond. A lot of Americans down in New Zealand. I've worked there as well. It's a beautiful country.
Beautiful.
I've worked on the North and the South Island, down at Lake Wakatipu, and also up in Auckland itself.
Yeah.
And great people. I mean, you know how there's the Canadian and the American little arty-barty? Yeah. It's the same thing with the Kiwis, the New Zealanders, and the Australians. Deep down, I mean, we fight together. We've lost enough blood on different sands around the world, working with the Americans and so on, and other countries. So I respect the Kiwis, and a lot of them came over to Australia. A lot of good talent, make beautiful movies. They've got beautiful scenery, some of the most gorgeous scenery in the world. And the irony of it is, though, there's every bit in Australia. Every bit in Australia that you're going to see in New Zealand. But it's just across the pond, as we say. So you might as well go on over. They're stunning, absolutely stunning views. And people are buying homes there and so on. And
so my husband and I played with, we really like it over here. Should we just live it? And then we said, but our family is so far away that it's...
yeah. Family, grandkids, all that comes into play, doesn't it?
Yes.
But more and more people, Americans particularly, getting out of the country, they're moving to somewhere it's safe, somewhere their money goes further or something else. And my attitude is, you got to finish your life. You're not going to be here forever. So if they want to see you, why can't they come to you as well, in fairness? But It's not like getting on the phone each weekend. I know. So we talked about the message, blah, 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 arts and therapy. It's guided you. It's offered you a unique perspective. You know, in Australia, in the war years, I mean, Sheila's is a bit of slang in
Yes.
Australia. A lot of people don't know that. It's called swine, okay? Everybody knows Croc Dundee, right?
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows that. Still on cable. I can't believe it. Anyway, you know, that's a knife. Well, that's swine. G'day, mate. How you going? You know, that's swine.
My daughter was fortunate enough to kind of been taken in by a family there who was
Very
sort
good.
of like second parents, and then we saw them. So we have it's lovely when you make connections, especially with
That is.
countries.
Well, we're like that. We open the front doors, particularly to Americans. You know, we've always been close brothers that way. So, Nancy Sims, I wish you well with this book. I really hope that people go and buy it. But it's easy to purchase. There's the link at the bottom. I've left it up for you. Plenty of time to write it down now. And you'll go to her website, and there's other stuff there, you know. And even if you just want to read about it, do that. And maybe you can recommend it to somebody who'd enjoy this.
Right.
Maybe,
and
you know.
as I said, I love doing book clubs. And so if you contact me, I'm happy to arrange a Zoom.
Okay. So what is involved with that then? And what would they need to do?
So they could go on the website and contact me. There's a contact page, or they could really go on verbalsnacks@yahoo.com and reach me that way as well.
All right. So then what happens from there? What's the next step?
The next step would be I would speak to the contact person, and I have Zoom, and arrange, you know, when is a convenient time when your book club meets, and Zoom with them.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand how that would work, how many people you'd have on at a time. You know, is it just you and the person, or you and who?
No, you do a group. It's like a group chat on Zoom. You can you can do up to, I don't know, when I Zoom in New York to the book council, you could have 100 people on.
Okay.
There's a certain, but most book clubs are like 10 to 20 people, and that's actually
right, the book clubs.
Yeah.
All righty. So there you go. You've had an invitation for that as well, folks. Lovely lady, Nancy Sims. Thank you, Nancy. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. You know, I'm getting up there too. So when I think of things, you've triggered a few things in my mind that take me back.
Well, you know, and just I'll finish up. My father went to medical school in Edinburgh, Scotland, with his cousin, with his brother and his cousins. And so I have a fondness. And then he went during the war. He was in London. So I have an affinity for the Brits, and I love Australia. So
that's good to hear. That's good to hear, because we're still an island continent. You know, there's more people in Texas than the whole of Australia. You know that?
I understand.
And yet,
I won't go there.
And the funny thing about it, though, is our landmass is bigger than America.
Yeah, it is.
You know, there's so much. I get a little frustrated when, you know, I share with Americans, oh, I've been to Australia. Where'd you go? We went to Sydney. Oh, yeah. Best harbour in the world. And did you climb the bridge? No.
Oh.
What else did you do? Well, I took a ferry around the harbour and everything. Okay. Then did you get up to the Barrier Reef? No. Did you go anywhere else? Did you go inland? Did you go to...
No, it's very... we went, the first time I went, we saw the penguins. I love it.
Down at Phillip Island. Yeah, I did a project down at Phillip Island. Beautiful. Aren't they gorgeous, the little penguins?
I love them.
Absolutely beautiful, yeah. Oh, they're amazing. There's lots of things to see. Truly, ideally, years ago, I wish I'd done it now. I was going to, you know, start up a business where I took people, because there's nowhere in Australia you could lose me. I've worked everywhere and lived everywhere, all right? And just take maybe 10 couples, but really, really show them Australia. But you'd need a month. Yeah, so I guess it's going to be retirees, right? All right, a book club. Thank you for the invite, by the way, to over there, wherever you are, to speak to the book club. I love to do that. I really do. Thank you, Nancy. It's been a pleasure, and good luck with the book, okay?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Look for the purple cover.
Look for the purple cover. There you go. Isn't she lovely? Nancy Sims, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Dedicated to authors, discovering your book, promoting your book, and selling your book is what it's about, because there's a lot more to it. You need to be seen and heard affordably. And this is what I offer. Go to nothinglikeagoodbook.com, fill in the form if you want to talk, and have a look at some of the reviews there and the other writers that their books come on the site. Terrific writers, and one of them's going into a big movie in Hollywood soon, and all sorts of things. Diverse. We don't stop anybody, you know. You may have written something. And the other one is this. I'm getting more and more people wanting to know, look, I'd love to write a book. Okay, I just don't have the time and I'm not sure which way to go. Then talk to me. Well, I can do it for you. Okay, at far less than what it costs you some. Well, maybe. We'll talk about that anyway. You'll find out. The biggest thing I want to get across is I am no scammer. Okay, there's enough of them out there without that. And I know it hurts for a lot of people. So that said, thank you for this particular episode. Thank you for following the show. It's kind of people to send you an email and something and support it on the YouTube channel. You know, the support thing and the bell you got to do and all of that on YouTube. It helps me, it helps the channel, and it will help a lot more authors across America and for that matter around the world. Okay, so thank you for, again, joining me, and remember to, be kind.